Hey guys, it's Nik the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. I was working on a little project that I was going to show you, like when I was more prepared and stuff, as well as I can be prepared, that is. But I thought, I'll just turn on the camera and we'll just talk about it while I go through it. Maybe that will help me to do a better job, or maybe I'll do a worse job. I don't know. Either way, maybe it'll be a little entertaining to watch me fail. Alright, so what I'm doing is I have some pieces of yardstick, probably realized that, and I was going to make some, have you seen ruler or yardstick boxes? Little trays and boxes with little sections and stuff that they make out of old yardsticks. Well, if you haven't, that's okay. Some of these yardsticks are a little darker than the others, and so I wanted to darken them up a little bit. So I made up some pretty heavy coffee and hot water, like instant coffee. And then I have this bottle of Tim Holtz Distress Stain in Gathered Twigs, piece of t-shirt. And I was going to put some color on these yardsticks before I turn them into a box, as it were, a tray, a storage thing. So how is everybody doing? Hope all y'all are doing all right. It is about, I think it's 10 degrees outside today. A snowstorm came in last night and we didn't get a whole lot of snow. I mean, I think maybe, I don't know, 8-9 inches. It wasn't like a tremendous amount, but it's cold. Like really, really cold. And what I did, I was going to try this coffee on if I have a darker one, but right now the Gathered Twigs I think is working all right. If I get out some more of the yardsticks, some of them already have some darker stain, so that's why I made up both. I didn't want to overdo it. Heaven forbid I overdo something. And it will dry a little lighter than this. It won't dry quite so dark, but that's okay. I don't know, I just wanted the darker stain on it instead of such a pale stain. I think I will put some of this diluted coffee as maybe like a wood conditioner, just so that the stain, the wood will accept the stain maybe a little better, perhaps. At least that's my theory. These were stained and sealed with some kind of varnish whenever it was that they were made. I mean, it's obviously been a minute. You can tell that they've been around for a while. So the varnish is all but gone. Long gone. And let me, one of these is like really wonky. This is one yardstick that is cut in half, and you can see how, do you see the bow in it? It's really warped. I can relate. So I might as well use this one. I got some yardsticks at a flea market type place, antique type place a while back, and I've been meaning to make some storage trays out of them and hadn't gotten around to it because, you know, life happens and stuff. And I saw them sitting there and I thought, you know what? Today's the day. Today is the day. I actually remembered to put gloves on, so I'm kind of proud of myself. Grab another one of these deli papers so I can put the ones that I've already put some stain on to the side. So, what should we talk about? Anything interesting going on in your lives? Let's see. What's going on in my life? Well, it's winter, so not a whole lot goes on in my life in the winter. I mean, just work, but other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on because I don't really go anywhere. Where did I put the... Oh, this is what I do. I hide stuff from myself. Winter is rather difficult on me because I just can't go out. It's just not a good thing for people that have little to no circulation to go outside when it's cold. We're just not supposed to. We literally have doctor's notes. See, this side has some of the varnish still on it. I don't know if giving it a rough up would be a good idea. Well, I guess I just did, didn't I? I guess the point is moot. Oh well, we'll see what happens. And then, if you're somebody like me, who also has lupus, then we're not supposed to go out in the sun either. At least a lot of us with lupus, not all of us, but most of us have a sensitivity to the sun, so we can't, well, I mean, we can go outside, but it doesn't always fare well for us if we do, if we get too much UV light. Last time I was remiss and got too much sun, I ended up in the ER. So that was, you know, that was last summer. I don't even know if I told you guys about that. I don't even remember. Did I tell you guys about that? So, well, I'll tell you about that. Be a fun little story. You know, good times ending up in the ER. And the reason why I ended up in the ER as opposed to, because that makes it sound like, you know, I'm on death's door, which I certainly was not. Sorry, I'm not one of those YouTubers that dramatizes. I didn't even take a picture of myself sitting in the ER all hooked up to stuff and then posted it on social media. See, I just guess I need to get better at these things. Anyway, I digress. So I was cleaning up outside. Basically, it was one of those deals where I walked out to the shed and I went, oh, holy cow, this place is nuts. This place is nuts. It's like I couldn't even move and find anything I was looking for. None of, you know how it is. Usually humans fall into one of two categories. Usually we are those super put together kind of people, and everything is organized and everything has a place, or everything in its place and every place has a thing. My grandpa used to say that. That's not what he said, but it was something like that, and I'll Google it later and I'll go, oh yeah, that was, we either fall into that category and we always have our crap together, or you're me. You're the me kind of person who basically can be oblivious to most things until it gets so out of hand that it is no longer functional on any level. And then we go, okay, this is dumb. The sock drawer, the freezer, the linen closet, and apparently the shed. I didn't take everything out of the shed, but I took a lot of stuff out of the shed and kind of almost started over. There were some things in there that I couldn't lift. And now that my husband had back surgery, he can't lift it either. So I guess it's just going to stay there till we all die. But I got it looking pretty good. At least I thought so. Pretty good. And functional. At least more functional. You can move around in there. You can see where you put stuff, which is always a wonderful thing. To see where you put stuff. I don't want to stain this whole thing because I only need a few pieces of it. Maybe I should, hold on. I'm going to cut some of this off. Stay right there. I'll be back. All right. Where was I? Okay, so anyway, I was wearing sunscreen as I always do. Hold on, I have an itch on my back. Those are handy. I know this looks like bourbon. It's just tea, I promise. So anyway, I was wearing sunscreen, as I always do, but that doesn't always translate to being protected. At least when you have lupus. For us, it's a sensitivity that exceeds the realms of what sunscreen can do for us most of the time. Because sometimes it's not just the UV rays, it's if we get hot, it can trigger a response, a lupus response. Just the fact that we get too hot. And of course it is the UV rays as well. But it's just kind of a perfect storm of wonderfulness that we just can't handle it. I must have gotten too much sun, even though I was in the shed most of the time. Didn't matter, apparently. Because I worked on that during the weekend, and by Sunday afternoon, I don't know, I thought it was just like a little blemish or something on my nose. It was just like this little raised red bump on my nose. And I'm like, okay, I don't really get acne anymore, but all right. I mean, it wasn't really concerning me or anything. But by Sunday afternoon, the whole side of my nose, and it went all the way up to the bridge of my nose and underneath my eye, and then across my cheekbone, and then down around, and then, so it was like half of my face was all swollen, and it looked like hives, like one big raised hive, like I was having an allergic reaction to something. And so I thought, well, am I having an allergic reaction to something? Yeah, Nick, the sun. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And of course it's a Sunday afternoon, because that's the only time you need to go to the ER is on a Sunday or Saturday evening. It's this thing we do. Kids do it, dogs do it. It's this thing that us creatures on this planet have decided that this is what we need to do, is get very ill to the point of needing emergency care on a weekend. It's probably, I don't know, it was like 6 o'clock and we had just made dinner. Of course, I Googled it. I Googled my symptoms, and what popped up was cellulitis. And if you don't know what cellulitis is, don't look it up. Just don't. No, you can, I don't care. Just know that you can die from cellulitis. There's different ways that it can kill you. One of which is like sepsis, because it can get into your bloodstream. Another way that, WebMD decided to give me a heart attack was, it says that if you have cellulitis and it is close to your sinuses or underneath your eye, you need to have emergency care immediately, because it can go really bad, really fast, and it's really serious. Do not collect $200. Get your butt to the ER. So I was like, great. So I tell my husband, so funny thing here, sweetie, I think I need to go to the ER. Off we go to the ER. He takes everything in stride. He's been to the ER a lot. Should I go ahead and put some? Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to seal these. So off we go to the ER. The lovely people at the hospital, and they really are lovely people. I've always had a good experience at the ER. I mean, as good as you can have. They've always been really nice people. Let me grab my stuff. You know what I'm going to do, because I am a lazy, lazy girl? I'm going to put these down inside this box and go out to the garage, and I'm going to give them a coating of spray stuff, because it dries so much faster than if you paint it with some water-based sealer, and then I have to let it dry. I'll never get this done if I don't. So I will be right back. Plugged in my glue gun because I mentioned I was lazy, right? All right. As long as we have that fact established. Right. All right, where was I again? Just for a recap, I have this piece of hardboard that is a scrap, and I had cut a couple of strips for each side and for the ends before I turned on the camera. So my apologies. This is going to be my base, by the way, if you're wondering what in the world I'm doing. You wouldn't be the only one. I wonder that most of the time as well. Now I'm just waiting for this to heat up. I am going to decide on my configuration. Let me show you one that I made the other day, and it's very, very crude, and it just has sections in it. I didn't put any stain on it. I didn't seal it, nothing. This was my, hey, I wonder if that'll work kind of project. So I need to just figure out what kind of compartments I want in this one. Sabe? So that's what I'm going to be doing while I'm telling you my ER story. All right, so I go to the ER and there was literally nobody else there, which has never happened to me before. And yet I didn't see it as an omen. I thought, oh, I lucked out. You never luck out at the ER, by the way, just FYI, in case you are not aware of how ER trips go. Lucking out is not one of the things that usually happens there. So I get taken back within mere moments, back to the, I guess it's their staging room. It's the green room, where a very sweet nurse or tech or whomever it is that you see before you actually, meet the ER doctor. And they ask you, they take your vitals and they, what brings you here today? It's kind of like you sound like you're at Chuck E. Cheese. So, what brings you here today? Are we graduating from kindergarten? No, I'm not graduating from kindergarten. It is not my special day. Maybe there. Anyway, they were very nice. And they took my vitals, which were fine. And I told the tech or nurse, I took off my mask and I said, I started getting swelling on my face like probably Friday. And I said, it's just progressively getting worse. And I was honest. I said, I Googled it and Google told me that it might be cellulitis. And so I got my butt right in here. To which the RN said, that was a good idea. I was validated. I didn't have a fever. I had felt feverish earlier in the day and the day before, but I thought it was because I was just kind of overheated. I didn't really think a whole lot of it at that point because that's how we women are. We downplay most things when it comes to our health. We suck it up and move on. Don't we, ladies? And then I got moved to the next room with an actual bed in it. And I was like, yay, first time I've sat down today. And the ER doc took a few minutes to come back because right after I had come in, just right after, I guess a horrible car accident came in. Nobody died or anything, but it was not a good scene. Then I'm feeling really guilty for wasting this doctor's time, but he wasn't the only doctor there, so I guess it's okay. He was very, very sweet. And he came in and I just quickly kind of ran down what I had told the nurse in the other room. He was actually really glad that I came in. He agreed with my hypothesis. He said, that's what I think it is too. He said, it is a good thing you came in because that can go bad really, really fast. And especially after he heard that, I deal with other health issues, the heart failure and, lupus and, all that really fun stuff. He said it was good that I came in because people like me, can't handle infection like all the normal people can, apparently. Especially because I'm on medication that suppresses my immune system because my immune system has decided to not play nicely with others. It has to be put in time out most of the time because it just goes a little too spastic and over exaggerates everything. Such a drama. Drama. But he said it was good that I came in, which did make me feel a little bit better. It didn't make me feel like quite such the, hypochondriac or something. He proceeded to give me a really strong antibiotic that I had to stay on for a week. He said it might get worse for another day or two. He said, and then it should start clearing up. So I went home and dutifully took my medication. And a couple weeks later, I had an appointment with my dermatologist just for a yearly checkup. I did tell him about the cellulitis thing, and he goes, huh? And I said, what? He says, did they culture the cellulitis? Did they take a culture? And I said, the doctor actually said that he wasn't going to culture it because he was sure that that's what it was. That we caught it in time. It was a good thing that I came in, but we caught it in time. He didn't culture it because it shouldn't get any worse than what he told me it might get, but that it wasn't going to be like a life-threatening thing because I had come in quick enough. I guess if you let it go and it does get to a pretty bad state, that they have to take a culture to make sure that it's not certain kinds of infection, because then you need other types of antibiotics, I guess, medications to kick them. You medical people out there have a much better insight on why that is. So anyway, long story, not very short. I said, no, he did not. He did not culture it because of that. And my dermatologist said, well, he goes, if it happens again, which let's hope it doesn't, he said, have them culture it. He said, because I would be willing to bet it was not an infection at all. And I said, what was it? Why did I take antibiotics if it wasn't an infection? He says, well, because you have lupus, it can mimic cellulitis, and you had been out in the sun probably too much, which I got a lecture for it, so don't worry, y'all don't have to lecture me in the comments because I got the lecture. And he said that it was probably just a lupus flare, although he said he was not mad about the antibiotics. He goes, well, I'm not really mad about the antibiotics though, because the antibiotic that I was prescribed also is a big anti-inflammatory. He said, so either way, it was okay. He says, because that calmed everything down. It was actually an okay thing. It was going to be all right. Okay, well, I guess it is what it is. And then when I saw my rheumatologist a couple weeks after that, she concurred. She said, yeah, it probably was the lupus just getting all out of whack because you spent too much time outside. And I was like, okay, I spent too much time outside. So the point of all this of this big old long convoluted story, is that I can't go out in the summer because of the sun, and I can't go out in the winter because it's too cold. And yeah, that's my life. So yeah, I've decided that I'm just going to invest in a very large bubble. Well, one that has UV protection and apparently a heater to keep me at a temperate level, because I can't get below a certain level or I turn purple like a Smurf, which you would think would be a cool thing, to be a Smurf, but it's really not as much fun as you think it would be. So I'm going to start a GoFundMe page for my own personal bubble. I'm thinking they're probably kind of expensive. Not something I would ever be able to afford. A personal bubble. Or an island. Maybe we could all go in together and just buy an island. How's that sound? And of course, if it's an island, there's going to be a lot of sun. which means I'll just have to build a really big cabana over the whole thing. Well, have it built, because if this project gives you any indication of how that building would go, I would probably be trying to put it all together with hot glue and failing miserably. If anybody wants to chip in with me on that venture, let me know. We'll have an investors meeting about those of us that would like to escape society and run away to an island. But not like a Lord of the Flies type of island, because that didn't go great. I mean, it ended okay, but getting there that was a bear. Not everybody had the best of time. Probably should have used wood glue. I used wood glue on this one, but I was being really impatient. It's just for me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right, so now that this part is done, this might be the longest video I've ever made. This is taking me forever. And it's mostly because I'm futzing around with the hot glue after it has dried. My own fault, and I realize that. This is my bed and now I have to lie in it. Pardon me while my OCD takes over for just a minute. So what I want to do is I want to put one of the little walls in this general vicinity, such as it is. Okay, I'm gonna go cut it here. It's probably wrong, but I've committed. Yay, fits. But I think I'm going to put away the hot glue for now, and I'm just going to get out some white glue, which that's all this is white glue. What's great about white glue is that it dries clear. It takes a minute to dry, but without any booger strings and all that fun stuff. Now I shall take the 1, 2, 3 blocks, put one on this side and one on this side, snug them up together, and then I will take this clamp, run a bead on that bottom edge and the little side edges. Even if it's wrong, do it anyway. Now, while that's doing its thing, then I can decide if, oh, that's too short, if I want to put in the middle. All right, I'm going to cut this piece now. I just have to find the center. So let's do that. All right, is that straight? It's kind of straight, it's sort of straight. We're gonna go with yes. Oh, that's probably not a great idea. Yes, I took it apart because it was bugging the heck out of me. And now I'm putting it back together because the hot glue was driving me insane. God, Donna, you don't have to state the obvious. It's so rude. I won't let you invest in my island. Okay, I think we're back to where we were supposed to be when I was supposed to glue it together with white glue in the first place, but I resisted and I was lazy, and what did that do? It just stalled everything out and I had to redo it. So, you know, you live, you learn, or you don't. That's usually what happens to me, so I don't learn. So I'm going to put in these little short pieces of the rest of the yardstick, just some little pieces, and glue them in like partitions, some little sections for, you know, stuffy stuff. What were we talking about when I so rudely interrupted myself? I'm going to use this to hopefully square up a little piece of ruler. Okay, one. And then this one shall go in over on this side. This. Okay, so what I think I shall do is put a clamp on this and allow it to dry. Ah, somebody stop me. What I did while everything was finishing drying before, because I had to put it back together, is I made a little, I don't know, rectangular tuffet of sorts. It's going to be a pincushion, and it can slide down in this section down here, but I'm going to hot glue it in because I don't actually know why. There's really not going to be a great reason why. It's just that's what's going to happen. Strings everywhere. I don't know why I had a old southern accent there. Join me on the veranda for a mint julep. And this will be the Miss Muffet's Tuffet corner. And these are the only pins that are like any semblance of decent looking. And they're hat pins. They're like super long. So I don't have any like nice looking pins. The ones I have are like what a 7th grader would pick out if she went to go pick out sewing pins, which they don't. So, and there's a good reason for that, because this is what they would look like. They're basically neon, god-awful pins. Oh, wait. Hold on. So you know what any self-respecting ruler box maker would do, don't you? Well, I will tell you what they will do. They will take some pins and they will go spray paint the tops of them to be whatever color they want. And this is how I sabotage myself. So, case in point, if you ever want to know why you never get anything really done and really accomplished and completed in one go, it's because stuff like this sabotages you. You do it to yourself, but I'm just going to let you know that I recognize what I'm doing, but that doesn't mean I can stop myself from doing it, because then it'll just bug me and I'll just need to keep doing it. So here we go. I am not the master of my fate. No, I am not. So here are the little, now gold, stick pins. We can just shove these in here. So pretty cute. And because apparently I cannot leave well enough alone, I have some more scraps of the yardstick left over. So I thought I would put in a little extra compartment with a lid, perhaps. But this little piece needs stained. And this is from a paint stick from the home improvement store. And I'll show you what I'm going to use this little piece for. What I am going to do is slice little square pieces off of it. I hope that's what I do. They don't have to be perfect or anything. I mean, thank goodness, right? Now, one of these is going to be the wall that goes in between here and here. And another one of these is going to be a lid for the top. So I'm going to put this in here and mark myself a guideline. And this guy is going to need some kind of like a little knob or handle or something for the top, because heaven forbid I leave well enough alone. This should work. And I need to find the center. I'm going to guess it's right there. We're just going to do that. We're going to guesstimate. Found an old nail. And these are metal snips. And just a little bit of hot glue. Should seal the deal. Where's my glue? Okay, so here's the glue. And here is a clamp. The glue goes and then this gets glued on top. I will check the fit here. And I'll set that aside to dry for a moment. And then the other square that I cut off will go on the opposite side, on this side. And let's see if that fits. That looks like it fits. So that this can get glue on one side I will put this in there, and then hopefully don't move. And then this wall gets placed on this side over here. And as soon as this side gets set, I can fit this side in. I just want to make sure that the lid is going to fit okay. Glue on the edges, both sides, and the bottom. Here's the clamp. Let's give this a little bit of a hug for a moment. Just a little one. A little hug. A squeeze. All right, let's give this just a few minutes to sit and hopefully get this glue secured for 5 minutes, and I'll be right back. I think it's dry. And our little lid fits on, however we want to fit it on. So now I'm going to fill it up with some sewing notions. I could go on to do other little compartments, but you know, this was supposed to be a quick project and not stretch out for a week. So we're just gonna stop here. I have some spools of thread. I have some bulb pins, little metal ones. I have a threader, some seam binding, some more binding, some very old measuring tape, and buttons, and I have a handful of bobbins and also some embroidery floss. So I thought in this little compartment I could put bulb pins. There we go. Safe and sound. And as far as everything else, I mean, I guess it's 6 of one and half a dozen of another, right? I'll put the thread and the trim in this one, I suppose. And I did take some little pieces of dowel rod and I glued them down to this base plate of sorts because I thought maybe I could put the bobbins on that. I don't know, I just thought it looked kind of cool to have something else hanging out there. There we go. And then maybe this container back here could be for the measuring tape and the seam binding. Maybe the needle threader could slide in there. And maybe the other bobbins. Sorry buttons, no room for you in this box. Alright, well, I think it turned out pretty cool. And what I really like is on this side, it says measure up. Little compartments are cool. Can't have any kind of storage box without having some kind of little lidded compartment, as far as I'm concerned. And that's all she wrote. Alright guys, well, enough for this quick little project. Hopefully it gave you some ideas if you have a yardstick or two lying around. If not, go to the home improvement store and get one for $1 or $2, whatever they are, and make yourself a little sewing compartment box. Alright guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you all really, really soon in the next video. Bye guys!